Okay. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this conference in honor of Black History Month, hosted by MS Focus, the Multiple Sclerosis Foundation, and made possible with support from Genentech and Novartis. My name is Kimani Hendricks. I am the Multimedia Communications Coordinator for the foundation. Mouthful, I know I get tired of saying it every time, but I have to. And I'm joined by our lovely panelists, Kevin Wilson, Damian Washington, Marianna Malveaux, and we do have one other panelist, Diana, who should be joining us in a few moments. But we are just so excited to have all of you guys today to share your stories with us. And I did want to address the audience for 1 second. We are going to make time for questions toward the end, but if you want to utilize the chat or the Q&A or the raise hand feature in Zoom, you can just wait for us to acknowledge your question and we'll move from there. If you're watching from Facebook, of course, you can join the discussion by leaving your comments in the section below the live stream. So let's get to it. I did want to have each of you go one by one. We're kind of going to do a round robin the entire time, but just briefly tell us about your diagnosis story for those people who are watching us and do not know you guys personally. So we'll start with Mariana, if that's okay, and then we'll go Damian and then Kevin.
It's pronounced Marianna, but it's easier to just stick with Mari.
Mari.
Yeah, Mari. And I was diagnosed in 2006. I, was just back and forth, having seizures and then going to this doctor, going to that doctor. Oh, we think it's this, we think it's that. I said, well, I need y'all to figure it out, find out what tests you have to give to me, and then we take it from there. So finally, after months and probably it was a couple of years before somebody said, well, let's just go in and because we think it might be MS, but we're not sure. So I said, how can we find out? So we did the final tap. And so the final tap came back, yes, we have MS. And so I said, well, where do we go from here? And it was just around because it wasn't just MS that was going on. I was also having thyroid issues. So it was a combination. And so it was just, I'll just be honest with you, it was hell. Because it was just, they didn't know what medicines to put me on, we're gonna try this. And you get that in your mind where I don't want to be a guinea pig, but I want something that's gonna help. And so I said, okay, get over yourself, you know, just take what they're trying to help you. Take it. I've been dealing with this basically since 2000.
Thank you for sharing. Kevin?
Yes, hello all. I'm Kevin Wilson. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Wasn't sure if I was supposed to say that, but I see everybody putting where they're from in the chat. So I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I was diagnosed in 2017 with primary progressive MS. I'm the type of guy, I don't like to start from the beginning. I want to start at the end. So I couldn't start at relapsing remitting. I had to go all the way to the primary progressive. So that I'm just one of those type of guys. But you know, as we all know, this thing has been a roller coaster. It's a continuous roller coaster. And now I'm just working on trying to steady it as much as possible. Not too many highs, not too many lows. Just trying to ride here nice and smooth as possible. And I'm feel honored to be here and I can't wait to continue this conversation, guys.
I love that. Jersey born and bred, love New tri-state area. Yes. Damian, you ready?
Peace, y'all. Damian Washington got diagnosed 2018, something like that. And optic neuritis was really sort of my first symptom. And 3 doctors later, I needed a spinal tap because nobody knew what was going on. The spinal tap was like, oh, this guy's mad healthy. He totally has multiple
Yeah.
sclerosis. Get a neurologist and figure that out. And after I sort of did that, and then I was on bed rest for a couple of weeks because that spinal tap did not heal properly. And I said, once I got back on my feet, I'm going to start my YouTube channel. Eventually, it became about MS and 7,000 people on that channel, and however many thousands on YouTube, and Instagram, and all the other social networks. I help them feel seen, heard, and understood by talking about patient type stuff, and I'm elated to be here and refreshed to be in this company, and really, really glad that we're all here sharing this space right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Diana, welcome, first of all. It's good to see you again. We are actually just getting started. You came at the nick of time. So the question was to just briefly share your diagnosis story before we get into the talking points.
Well, I'm Diana Leah, and I was diagnosed with pediatric multiple sclerosis at age 9.5. I count the half because it seemed like a really long time. And when I was diagnosed, nobody really knew that it was essentially multiple sclerosis. They thought that I had a stroke. With time progressing, they noticed, like Damian said, optic neuritis, the blurred vision, as well as severe headaches, trembling. I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk. I had a speech lag, muscle. I had speech paralysis and also my muscular dystrophy in my face. That was one of the biggest things too that really opted them to be like, this girl has a little bit more than what meets the eye. After the tests and a whole bunch of different basic rudimentary things, they literally looked at me. I had this one doctor, she looked at me and she was like, this girl has multiple sclerosis. And I think that, for one, deemed my age at the time, it's just not one of those things that you would focus on a young adult, on a young child. But as a young adult, they started really getting to the whole understanding that this can be more focused on children than just the adult. At the age of 30 something now, I have really come to a place where this is my norm and I have to fight for what I want versus to just let multiple sclerosis just run my life. So, oh yeah, and I am an author. That happened too. I wrote the book My Tiny Spotted Mind, Too Young for MS, which deems that it's not only, the grown people and teenagers that get MS, it could also happen to the youngsters. And, I deal with a lot of young people and also older people just my age as well that do have multiple sclerosis and are like trying to find their space and trying to find their voice and figure out how do they go about life trying to be normal. Whatever normal is to you, I think that you could find that space in my book.
I need to read that. Oh my gosh.
Please do. It was a
I
feat.
will.
Yeah, it was a feat, but once you put a space for God and you become really in that become your own and this is what God gave you, you kind of move with the motion, and that's how she came about. She was what God intended for me to put out into the universe, and I look forward to keep writing. That's also my my the way that I get away. Writing is a big space for me to just get away from the rigmarole of multiple sclerosis. It allows me to really embark on a different space and journey for myself. So that is how I healed as well. A lot of crying, a lot of trying, a lot of ripping and erasing and starting all over. But she came about, and I'm very blessed to have her.
I love that. I can relate to that. I've been writing since I was 10, and I grew up with severe anxiety and depression. And writing and just creating in general was something that it was like once you put something down on paper and you look back, you're seeing a part of yourself you didn't even know was there. And it
Exactly.
somehow empowers you to just keep creating and keep moving. So I love, love, love that. Um,
Yes.
I do want to get into the questions and the talking points. So, first one being, how has MS inspired you to reevaluate and rediscover your life's purpose? And in what way does self-advocacy play a role? We're gonna just start with Damian first.
It's really all about self advocacy. Thank you, because you know your body better than anyone else, and you have to sort of trust that and know that medical professionals may or may not be as trained in your specific um, condition, so they might not see it as seriously or tell you that it's something else or discount it. So you just have to really be in touch with your own body and continue to find folk. If it's not this one, then the next one. If it's not that one, then the next one. There is somebody out there for you who will meet you where you are and work to get you toward a better place. And that's the one thing to sort of keep in mind as you are listening to your own body and making sure that you are recruiting people on your team to help you live your best life.
Mariana?
Yeah. I I keep my whole thing is being fake. That is what people do. And you same thing then you have to know yourself. You know what works for you and what doesn't, and you have to speak because nobody knows what's going on with you until you tell. Because the main thing that I always, oh, well, you don't look like you having, okay, what does this look like? Please tell me, I want to know. And so basically, it has, it could be a regular face, you know, no flaws in it, and it's in there. So basically, I have my support group, and that's what we talk about, just a space where you're not judged and you can just come in and say whatever is on your heart, on your mind. Nobody is gonna tell you or laugh at you or anything. And so it just gives me strength to each other. And that's my part in acting. Because if you just go in the corner, you're just gonna ball up and you're hurting yourself more than anybody. And so you just have to stay focused and like you said, I don't write a lot of stuff down, but I have a lot of stuff in my mind. And maybe I need to do it because a lot of people are just calling and they wanna talk. And so I'm a talker. And so if they ask me a question, it just rolls off for whatever the situation is at that time. But it's the whole thing at the bottom, middle, and the top is fake. And so it gets me where I need to be and stay there.
Diana?
So my advocacy became very my normal, basically. Since I was a little girl, I really didn't find a space for myself. I couldn't really understand what was happening to my body or my mind. So it took a while to come to terms with that I had multiple sclerosis. And I really came to terms that I had MS when I was 20 years old, around my 20s. And I always tried to keep up with the children around me and keep up with the classes and keep up with the schoolwork, and that really wasn't my space. So when I was younger, I had to write a lot of things down. So my writing began in just, I had to write things down to figure stuff out and to make sense of what was going on in my life and what was going on with school and things like that. And that writing also took me to the place where I started writing stories. I started writing poetry. You know, I'm doodling in class when I really should be paying attention. But because I did get good grades, you know, I was able to kind of escape in a sense. So my writing became my appendage in a sense where MS was there, but my writing took me elsewhere, places MS couldn't take me. My advocacy really helped me in with my writing, that really propelled me to advocate for children. And I came about in advocating for children in a sense where though I'm not a child anymore, I know where children feel and they can't really explain themselves. And I couldn't really explain myself nor engage in normal society. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in a private school and I can't explain myself or be with children or actually get into different sports because I have optic neuritis and I can't see and I can't fuel myself in a way where everybody has all this energy to stay up in class. So I really came inside, well, there has to be another child that was like me. There has to be other children that are not as disabled or as handicapped, but are in that place that they can't be heard or can't be seen or nobody understands them. So I was like, I have to say something. I have to do something. And I have to let them know that there is hope for the future. And that's why I became such an advocate for children with multiple sclerosis. Because I don't think that they can have a voice, but they do. They can't be as loud, but they should, you know? So I definitely posture myself so I can be as loud as I can be for the children that can't be heard.
Love that. Kevin?
Oh, yes. How do I advocate for myself? I usually try to, I go off the saying of a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So whether I step into a room, whether I roll into a room, for one, I'm entering that room as first a black man. I'm Kevin, then I have multiple sclerosis. So, in order to get what I want, I have to speak up. No one is looking around and say, "Oh, who's that guy with the cane or the wheelchair?" So I have to speak up for myself. So that's how I try to enter any space that I go into. I'm a black man first. I'm Kevin. Yes, I have multiple sclerosis, but if I need something, I have to speak up for myself because usually nobody's just going to come, but some people will. We have some good people on this in this world, but I have family members. They'll walk right past me and be like, "Huh," and they keep on going. So when we out in society, we have to speak up for ourselves because most people are just, and I'm from New York City, most people are just trying to get to where they're going. If you don't say anything, they'll step right over you. And like, oh, that was a speed bump right there. He's in a wheelchair. He's already in a speed bump. So speak up for yourself. This might be a handicap, but I'm not handicapped.
Ooh, I got chokes listening to
Mm-hmm.
you. Oh my goodness. So how do you proactively manage the evolving challenges that come with MS? Let's start with Mariana.
Um, is my husband came up with this plan. he said, think about everything that you want to do on a daily basis and make it because the memory is like comes and goes. And so, like on the week, this is just for example. Okay, I plan to do this always, but I have to sit down and write it down. And then I said, okay, on Monday, this is what's planned on. And then once I do it, then I can cross it out and I can go to the next step. And so it's basically a daily, or hourly challenge sometimes to try and get what you want and what you need to get done.
Damian.
Oh, repeat the question, please.
Yes. It was how do you proactively manage the evolving challenges that come with MS?
I give myself grace whenever I can. My wife is very good at pointing out what I don't have. And being like, my man, give this to yourself. Um, Giving myself the grace to rest, to sit down, to cook the food that I need to eat, to just order in the thing, to figure out what the easiest thing is. Again, like at some point, you know exactly what you need to just inch down the road, if even if you want the foot,
Around that
but
line.
you just might only have energy to give the inch or two. Give yourself that, and then rest, and then see what you can do afterwards. That's really all I do, and I'm still here.
That
Mhm. Yeah, grace is a big one. I totally agree with Damian. It's having multiple sclerosis for so long. It's like, when do you really have time to stop? And I find it, being a Black woman. I now live in Southern California. People are like, how the heck did you get there from New York? And it's like, you gotta just trust God, batten down the hatches, and be like, you know what? Calm down. Just calm. It's going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. You get opportunities, and you feel more. At this point, I felt the most aware of myself, because I had such time to understand who Diana is and why she placed here. So, since I had so much time and space to figure myself out, I was like, give it to God. Just let go. Just let go. Everything's going to be fine. You did the work, and you made the space for yourself, and just give it all to God. And for me, keeping my wellness together, the food, my intake, what I put mentally, what I keep around mentally, what I even search on social media. I keep things that give me happiness, but I also don't live in la la land. Things are in your face, things are happening, but you keep that genuine goodness inside of you, and it perpetuates. It evolves. Everything around you looks a lot better. You wake up with, thank God, I'm awake. Thank God I can walk. Thank God I have this and stuff like that. It's just, you just keep this awareness inside of you. And that's what really kept me going. My grandmother, who has passed, my belated grandmother, she was the anchor to everything. And just keeping a lot of space and gratitude for yourself is the best thing I can ever give to any other person that's going through this journey. Just keep going. You know yourself. You know how you feel. Don't let no one tell you how you feel. Just don't, be an example. Don't let anyone take that away from you. And I feel like a lot of friends and family, oh, of course, you look great. You look amazing. Yes, I keep this in mind, that I am amazing, that I do look great, to perpetuate tomorrow. I'm going to sleep this one out so I could get up tomorrow. You have to keep that in mind. So, yeah, for sure. I just, for myself, I go on walks. It hasn't been my habitual lately because we just had a baby girl, but I keep that in mind, and just keep focus on yourself. Don't let anyone steer you the wrong direction. Just keep going, guys.
Kevin, the question was, how do you proactively manage the evolving challenges of MS?
All right. Grace and gratitude. I like grace and gratitude more than Gucci these days. Right? I like those double G's better, right? And
Yes.
and I think I'd like taking accounting of my days. We have to be, Us with this disease, this horrible disease, we have to start taking accounting of our days. We're accountable for how we feel, and we have to be aware of how our body feels. And, we get up today and say, you know what? I don't feel that great today. I'm gonna leave them damn dishes in the sink. I'm gonna leave those clothes on the floor, and I'm gonna get to it tomorrow. But we have to give ourselves the grace to say, I'm not a slob. I just don't feel it today, but I'm gonna get to that later on or tomorrow. And I try to go about my day that way. I get up in the morning, I might have 1,000 things in my head. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. But you know what? Let me take an accounting. That arm feels good. Yeah, my leg feels
Bless you.
good. I feel a little cloudy. Maybe take a few things off that list and just being brutally honest with myself daily. And that seems to work for me nowadays.
Yeah, I love that. Love it. So, starting with you, Kevin, because I think you're the only one who has not gone first, but has has you experienced problems navigating health insurance? Or if anybody has, like, let's talk about that because I think it is an issue.
Oh, one thing I do want to mention before, I didn't know that I should have bring my merch here today. Everybody's got their books and stuff. I didn't know I was supposed to bring my merch, but what do I have navigating? Oh man. Say that again. Repeat the question again. Sorry.
Yeah, so navigating insurance, like, has it been a struggle for you or is it something? I mean, I imagine it is because struggle is annoying even if you don't have a chronic
Well,
illness, finding
I
insurance.
will I will say fortunately, I don't have any complaints about like health insurance. I know that's knock on wood, and I know there's other people that have had tons of problems, but fortunately, like I say to this day, I haven't had any problems with my health insurance so far. I
Good.
try not to rely on it as much. I try to rely on myself and family and friends a little bit more than health insurance because I know they're more than likely going to let me down. So I try to look to other avenues so I don't have to rely on it as much.
Damian?
I just laugh because it's nice if you have it. And when it works, it's great. And when it doesn't, just not. And it's just not. And but I make all these videos about life with MS, and I got a $68,000 bill for one of my medications one time. And I stayed on the telephone. I drove down to the insurance places. Like I do the most. And eventually I got to a desk and a dude, and I was like, yo, bro, you always put this bill. Why I got $68,000 that I owe you allegedly? What's good? And dude was just like, well, that's wrong. So we're gonna figure that out. Um, I'm sorry. Don't come here anymore, and don't bring your camera. Like literally. So there's a set of grace that you have to give yourself in the whole rigmarole. Because again, it's money, it's time, and you can always make back money, but you cannot get back time. So
Mm-mm.
standing on hold with the phone trees and waiting online, like all of this, you cannot get that back. So you just have to sort of give yourself the grace to know that this is my test right now. How can I find joy in this? How can I keep joy in my heart so I don't have my own feelings about the situation on top of my medical condition? Because that's already chewing at me. Um, yeah, that's that.
Diana?
That's $68,000, Damien. You're like preaching to the choir. I remember I got one of
Girl.
those. I got
Hmm.
one of those, but I got one of those. I think I was 16 when I saw it because it had my name on it and I opened it and I was 16 and instead of getting in my car, which I didn't have, I started laughing. I said,
Hmm.
wow. I was like, I'm very grateful. My mom's insurance usually pays for all of this. And now I have it in my hand and I see what my mom's insurance is paying for. That 1 hour in the medical room is $68,000. And then I thought to myself, a light bulb went off. And I was like, how can I stop this from happening? Like literally, it was just like a moment in time and everything just stood still. I was like, how can I stop this $68,000 from ever catching up to me? And I said, I have to treat myself better. I have to go to these places way less. I have to stop giving them my energy. And I'll have less problems and less $68,000 bills. And that's when that light bulb went off and I started changing stuff and I started just taking control and I didn't it's not instant. I can tell you that it's not instant because I had a
Hmm.
lot of growing to do. But my will started changing and started moving that I had to move different if I wanted different. You know, if I saw myself in a different light, I had to go get differently.
Yep.
And I don't know, maybe it was the greats shining down on me, my great grandmother, to like get yourself together. But I got myself together. And it's finally, I got myself together where I put myself first instead of the $68,000. I less relied on these resources instead of utilizing them to better myself. You know what I'm saying? So my reliance, I think that we're in a sense programmed to rely on our resources and our resources will absorb us rather than to take from them and place them into our lives and allow us to utilize it because they're resources. We're not supposed to just give all of us. And at that age, 16 years old, I remember I still have the bill. I still have the bill here. I wish I brought the
Did you
bill here.
frame it?
No, I didn't frame it yet, but I still have that bill. And I just look back every time I look through my catacombs of stuff, and I'm like, well, this will never happen to me again. Because that
Right.
$68,000, though it's paid for, it's gonna stay that $68,000. You know, you just have a new perspective. And
Uh,
of course, we all need a church just to keep up with us and our resources. And as humans, we have to keep checks and balances with our bodies and our minds and stuff like that. And as peoples with multiple sclerosis, that's another resource that I use rather than I use it as a hindrance. I go to my doctor to do wellness check, to make sure everything is in some type of balance or feng shui. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of just checking up for me and these hopefully no longer incurring in the future these really tough bills to swallow.
Right. Mariana,
Re- Real
do you have,
question for me again.
yeah, no problem. If you've had any obstacles navigating a healthcare system, like insurance in particular, if you don't, then that's fine. But if you do, we'd love to know your perspective.
I have had like I think the biggest bill that I had was like $10,000. It came in. It was like you got the letter in the mail saying that your medication covered. This is what the medication costs monthly, $10,000. So then you relax, okay, $10,000, wow. But I'm thinking about the 68,000. I think my heart would have just been pounding even harder and faster. But the 10,000, it was like, okay, they said I was covered. What happened? So then you have to pound the pavement, make phone calls, what's going on, And so, but that was the biggest thing through this whole almost 20-year journey. But for the most part, I really hadn't had any issues with them with my medical insurance because they pretty much paid everything. You know, you always might have something on the back end, but for the most part, they've been pretty awesome. I can't really complain about it.
So I did want to address mental health. I think it's
Mm.
I personally feel like mental health in a sense is physical health. And within the Black community, over the years, I think it's gotten better as far as Black people actually doing what they need to do to better their mentality and just decluttering and reprogramming ourselves. But what does practicing mental health look like for each of you guys? Like, how have you overcome and what have you done to actually improve in that area? Diana, can we start with you?
Mental health for me is having a good cry.
Mm.
Having a good to let your guard down and cry. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel. It's okay too. And if I'm not crying, I'm writing. I'm writing my feelings down. I'm in my laptop. I'm in my phone. You know, not everything has to be spoken about. Not everybody needs to know your business because God needs to know your business first and foremost because nobody else can do anything for you. It's good chatter. It's good, you know, people could tell everybody, you know, it's one of those things for me. Give it to God. Give it to God. I always post, people are like, repost my post, give it to God. Or I always give it to God because God knows more than anybody else in your life, any doctor, even yourself sitting there dealing with the situation. God knows more than anybody else and how to deal with it. And if you can't deal with it, let it go. Let it go. That bill that said $68,000 that I laughed at, I let that go. And as a Black woman now, I can say that I refuse to allow somebody else to tell me what to do with my mental, especially deeming that I'm postpartum. I'm supposed to go back to work. Why would I do that for? I'm tired. So you know what? You let stuff go.
Kevin, what about you?
Oh, wow. Mental health is so important. In my opinion, the mind controls the body. And if the mind is not right, the body is not going to function correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So what saved me, I didn't even realize I was in a pit of depression. And I was in a pit of depression for probably up to a year. Other
Mm.
people noticed it, but I didn't even notice it.
Mm.
But what actually started getting me out of it was participating in groups like this, getting with a group, and then getting a counselor that can help give me the tools to navigate. And it is so key. And if nobody listens to anything I say here today, if you feel that you need to speak to someone, find anybody to speak to that you feel like you could trust that can help you, because holding it in inside is such a pain. And the mind does control the body. If you're putting in bad, if you just constantly with bad thoughts, I know for me, my body just does not respond the same. So find a therapist if you can, find someone who you feel you can trust, who can help you just unload it, just help you navigate. They don't even have to say anything. Maybe they could just listen to you. Someone that could just listen, that you could just unload. But the more we keep it inside, the more it's a wreck on our body. So find someone, please. I implore you.
Okay, Damian.
Some people work out. Personally, I meditate. So I sit for a half hour 3 times a day. It's my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's one of the things where a lot of people say, "Oh, I can't meditate." And it's like, well, you breathing, right? So just sit down and breathe and don't move, and then leave in another half hour. That's it.
Hmm.
And so there again, it's you frame what you cannot do with the quick internal sort of your go-to thing is the reason why you cannot. And that's really how I frame all of my language, most of my language. I speak about what can happen. And if it's unable to happen, I speak about the other end of that more so, and I put more um, influence and vibration on that. But really, I sit, man. And when you sit, and that's why you even see me like this on the panel, because it's just simpler for me to listen to people's words sometimes. And when you sit with your eyes closed for a half hour and you do not move consistently, you will have a different experience in your waking and walking hours and days. And plus, you'll know how to feel when things are breaking down and you just need a nice little pause
Mm-hmm.
to reset yourself and to get you right back in the middle and then take it from there.
I love that you and Diana mentioned just saying what you can do as opposed to what you can't. There is true power in that, especially as Black people, because for longer than any of us have been walking the earth, when our grands and great grands and great great grands were here, so many people were saying what we could not do. And now
Mm-hmm.
I think that because they have they have left us, but not really, because now our attitude like says who? Like we can't do what, where, when, how, what? Like what? No, we actually can. And
Mm-hmm.
but if we don't know that we can, or if we don't know that it's okay to tell ourselves that we can, then we won't. So, oh God, I love this. Mari, are you there? Do you
Yeah,
need me
I'm
to repeat
here.
the question?
Yeah, yeah, it's I have, as far as the depression part of it, I never understood it because I don't know, everybody say you're a different animal. Because I guess I'm just always, I guess the way I feel is every day is a good day, even if it's just going crazy, the body is fighting and at every turn. But I just have that mentality that I'm faithful and I believe that God put the day, even though it may not be a good day, it's still a good day. And that's what helps me with the MS, with the journey. Because I watch so many other people. I'm still walking around. I keep my cane by close by, but I don't always have to. But that's still my security that I know if I need it, I can just reach out and grab. And so is I think I have judged people that have been in my group, and I had to apologize to them because they were in deep depression about having it. And I just couldn't understand. So I had to pray on that and say, well, Lord, open up my mind and my heart because just because I'm not feeling this way, I cannot begrudge somebody else for feeling. And I need to be a more supportive person and voice
We're
than
not
just being
hearing today.
judgment. Because when I look back on the conversation, that's what I was being. I was being judgmental. Oh, it's no need to be depressed. Life is good. But at that moment, that person, she literally walked away from my group and never came. And I've never been able to apologize. So all I can do is just put it out in the air. Whereas if she ever sees anything because I do YouTube videos, and it's just that still feel bad about it, but I started my group like 10 years ago, and it's been that long that I've never seen her again. And so that still weighs heavily on my heart, but I can't do anything about it. I just have to keep praying that she'll forgive me for what I said. But as far as the depression, I'm seeing it just how real it is in my group now. And they asked me, is there anything you can do to help me? I go and research and try to find anybody that any resource possible that and then the I think it's like the suicide um hotline, but it's not to that point. It's just where they need something that's gonna make them feel good about themselves having them. And so the videos I make is like living your best life with them, everything related to it, because everybody wants to come on to the party. You're not invited, but like all these other diseases want to come. And I didn't send you an invitation. So why are you here?
Hmm. Yeah.
And but they say, oh well, I'm here, so you just have to deal with it. And so I guess really and truly the depression part of it is part of it as well. And I just recently had one of the girls in my group. She said, I'm just so depressed, I don't know what to do with myself. And so I said, I will do everything in my power to find somebody to try to help. So that's what I've been on the mission. And I did see what I found. But if you guys can give me any more suggestions, I would be grateful for that. Definitely. Because
And I
mental
do
health is, yeah, it's
I'm so
good.
sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to say if you guys, because you guys are here, and so there are more than likely people on the call who would like you to name drop. Like if there are any
Oh,
organizations or any places where you actually have received help where other people can obviously easily access and research, please
okay.
shout it out for them because
MS Society is one. MS Society is one. Uh, I'm still waiting on them to send me more information, but that's the one that I reached out to. And it's like, what they do is they ask you where you live. And so they try to find somebody that you might be able to contact and meet with there or virtual or something like that if it's in another state or whatever. So that's basically what I'm dealing with now with the MS side. I've got a lot of stuff from it.
I did want to also mention therapy because I think that mental health and taking care of it, it can be done in a variety of ways. You know, our outlets are different and something may work for someone else, but it may not work for the next person. So if there are people, and I know a lot, all of us at one point in our lives have heard, oh, Black people don't do therapy. Well,
Mm-hmm.
we're
We
changing
need to
that
get it
narrative
together.
as well. Exactly. Like everybody has, okay, it's out there. So there is an organization for Black men specifically for therapy. And there is one for Black women as well, therapyforblackgirls.com. And I believe that the one for Black men is therapyforblackmen.org. So you can start there. I think NAMI is another one for mental health as well. But I'm not sure. Bavia, Deb, you can fact check me on that. It does help, but find your way because it's not hard. Whatever way God is pulling you, it's
We don't have to be resilient. Give that
right.
up. But we don't have to be resilient. I had to say that one in my doctor's appointment. I was like, I'm not resilient. I'm not resilient. So what you're trying to do is not gonna work with me. We're gonna take a pause, and we're gonna take a break, and you're gonna get out the room, and I'm gonna get myself together. I'm not resilient. Don't think because I'm a Black woman, I'm supposed to be resilient. You're not supposed to be resilient. There's no resiliency. Stop it. We don't have to.
Mhm.
fold into this mold that we're so resilient, we're so tough. If we can't take it, we can't take it. If we need to cry, like I said, a good cry never
Yep.
hurt nobody.
Nope,
Right.
not at all.
It
And I
definitely
think,
never hurt no one. You know, let it all out. We don't have to be resilient.
I think that's a lie that history has
Mm-hmm.
put on us, like, well, we can withstand anything, and
Anything.
Yeah.
we are strong as a people, but we are also very human as well. So
Amen.
denying that humanity is essentially feeding into this narrative that we are less than, and that is just not,
No, we're like
that is not
other.
the
We're other.
exact
We're aliens, obviously.
right.
but it, and that, and
um
also it's like, you know, when they say, 'cause my husband says this a lot, and sometimes it bothers me. Don't sweat the small stuff, but you know what? This is not small.
It's not.
I mean, he's wonderful. I couldn't ask for a better husband, and he keeps me laughing, and so is my whole family. They just think I'm hilarious. But the whole thing is sometimes the small things are the ones that drag you down more.
Very triggering.
Yeah.
It's very triggering that nobody understands that because they're not in our space. They're not in our body. You know, they don't have to deal with our means and our what systematically has been placed upon us to be so resilient. Um, they'll get to know us
Oh yeah.
for sure.
And I guess I need to stop putting my mask on.
Mm-mm. Take that mask off, girl.
I need to
Let it
stop
go.
putting my mask on and make like, okay, everything is, which I do. I do have. When I say I'm positive, I'm saying it from the heart because that's the way I approach things. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'm overdoing and overcompensating. That's the way I feel. And so now listening to you guys, it makes me realize that, okay, sometimes maybe I do need to go in the corner and cry. But before Hurricane Laura came, my outlet was I had a punching bag and a baseball bat. And when I would get picked off, or just, you know, I needed to let off some steam, I would just go there and beat the hell out of it. And I would just drop the bat. And I let whatever was going on at that moment, I had to drop it and leave it right
Oh
they
yeah.
call that smash therapy. That is
there.
that is,
Mm-hmm. That's a thing.
Oh,
yeah.
and
That's a big.
if I can add as well, one of the best things I learned from a therapist was, no matter what you're feeling, it's okay. Go through it. If you want to cry, cry. If you're feeling sad, feel sad. If you're feeling, whatever, feel it. But just don't live in it.
Right.
You want to cry, go cry, and then now let's move on because life goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Cry, get it out the way, shake yourself off. You know how they say, shake those shoulders off. Shake that
Mm-hmm.
dust off your shoulders, keep moving.
Harlem Shake It Off.
That's it. That's it.
We are on the subject of, well, I think that we can kind of transition a little bit into faith because it has come up a little throughout the discussion and spirituality. I think that practicing gratitude is definitely a form of that. And it's really easy for people to lose sight of what's going on around them that's actually good when everything else seems to be crumbling. So, how do you guys intentionally practice gratitude, or how have you since your journey with MS started? Let's start with you, Damian.
Ah, well, it's interesting because I forget the specific number. However, your perception can only understand 0.000, and a couple of other numbers, and another 0.000 and another other couple of numbers of what's going on around you because of what's going on in your brain and your perceptions and what you're hearing, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just important to know that you can honor what you're feeling, but just know that there is a whole bunch of things that you're not seeing right now, or that you're not really in touch with right now. And give the grace to either recognize that in the moment, or when you don't and you're just like, man, you just know that, yeah, okay, then this is your time for that. But yeah, faith is it comes in different forms to different peoples in different parts of the globe, and it's all one source, which is love. We were made from love, and
Amen.
we
Yeah.
will come back to love once it's all
Hmm.
done. And so when you are out of touch with that for whatever reason, just understand that it's untrue, and it feels true because it's in you. Ooh, and it don't feel good, but it's a feeling that you're familiar with. So while it doesn't feel good, it's familiar. So just know that there is something else out there that's on the other side of that, and it's your job to find it.
Kevin.
Wow. Well, I'm not gonna say I'm not really I'm not a church going person. I didn't really grow up in the church, so I kind of see things somewhat differently. Not that I don't believe in there's a God, I just see God differently. But what I do know is that faith without works is for naught. So you can have all the faith in the God that you want. If you don't get up and do something, it's not gonna happen for you. And God told you that. You can have faith in all the faith in me that you want, but you have to get up and you have to move and you have to do something. So, yes, with this MS, I have some bad days, and it's like, oh man, I want to call my doctor, but what are you going to do? I didn't just give you this to just call your doctor. What are you going to do? Maybe if you were eating better, maybe you wouldn't feel so bad. Maybe if you did some exercise, maybe you wouldn't feel so bad. I don't know. Maybe if you go in the room and cry a little bit, get it out, come out here, maybe you'll feel a little bit better. So for me, yes, pray, do whatever you have to do, but know that, in my opinion, you have to get up and do something. If you're not going to do it, it's not going to work for you. You can pray to whoever you want. If you're not going to get up and try to do something, God isn't going to do it for you, in my
Right.
opinion.
No, because you're doing it is a faith response.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so it's like, listen, God is not religious. That's what people need to understand. It's about the
Mhm.
relationship. It's
That's a
not about,
bar right there, Kamada. God is not religious. Say it with your chest.
but it's true. Listen,
That is
the
so
truth
true.
though. It's the
There you
truth. I
go.
mean,
That
martyrdom claimed the Messiah. He was not following what they said, oh, well, you should be doing this, or why are you teaching on the Sabbath? Why are you doing this? It's like, no, he was like, I don't care what y'all say, because my father, your father, our father says that I have to do it like this. So Jesus essentially was murdered because he didn't follow the rules, the religious rules. And not one of those religious people actually lived the way they were supposed to. So it's
Mhm.
not about how many times you go to church. Church is wonderful. I grew up in church. It's not about that. It's about being like, God, okay, listen, I'm praying to you. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I need help. I can't see. Like I can't hear. Prayer is
Right.
conversational. It's like
Hmm.
it's not sitting there saying Psalm 23 over and over again. Sometimes that works, but then other times
Mhm.
you gotta be like, God, I'm mad today. Okay. But
Right.
I'm
Hmm.
here in
Mhm.
devotion with you right now, trying to sort this stuff out.
yes.
So yeah, Kevin, I hear you. Some people just aren't raised in church. They don't go, but that doesn't mean that their belief is, agnostic
Mhm.
or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you believe, belief. That's all you need. Faith. That's it. Mari, can we go to you and then we'll go to Diana?
Yeah. I I'm Catholic, but I have a lot of things that I didn't want to go into the religion part of it, but I have to say because everybody thinks that their religion is and it's not religion that's going to teach you where you want to go. And like Kevin, you were talking about, you don't go to church, it doesn't matter. I mean, as long as you have that relationship with God, that's what counts. Because at one point, I had gotten all into that religion. Okay, I grew up as a Catholic, I married a Catholic. And so, okay, you have to go to the Catholic Church and do what that needs to be done. But you have to follow your own mind. And then at that point, I wasn't reading my Bible like I should. Until I started getting into the Bible, that's when I realized that yes, faith, but without the work is that's not gonna work. And so basically what I do is if I get stumped on whatever is going on, I just pray for God. I said, okay, I might have misstepped or I made a bad decision. I need some guidance to see if maybe you can guide me back, put me back on the right track. Because my kids, they're all grown, they're in their 30s. And so, they just all stopped going to church. And so at one point, it was me and their daddy fussing about it. They were always involved in church and everything and made all the sacraments, and now they just don't want to go. And I told them, I said, basically, we taught them to believe in God. And so that is what we need to be worried about, not worrying about them going to a building. Because that you going to a building, that's not going to get you where you want to go. It's that relationship with God. And all we can do is we planted the seed, and so they have to take it from here. And so, because my son had gone to the military and he called and asked for a Bible. I don't even think he knows where the Bible is now, but and he did say that. He said, well, Mama, I kind of misplaced. I said, that's fine. I say, but you know who God is. And I said, you just need to build that relationship and know that he is there for you, but you have work to do. And everybody always said, even when you go, you still have to do work once you have exited this life. It's still work to do. And but that's the main thing is trying to stay faithful and continue that journey of trying to be a better person, not a perfect person, because none of us are perfect. But it's just a matter of asking God to put me where you want me to be. If it's in a better place and if I need to step back, if I'm saying too much, just let me know. And but you have to listen. So he will talk to you. But if your ears are closed and not wanting to recognize it, you're listening.
Right. That's what I meant when I said a few moments ago that prayer is conversational. It's not just about you talking, it's about you also listening because he has the
Right.
grace to
Yeah.
listen to you. You need to also give him that time to listen. You be like, amen, and then you move on about your day. And then it's just like, well, you done missed the answer. I was about to tell you, but okay, you'll come back to me later.
Exactly.
Diana. Diana, you ready?
um faith and spirituality for me go toe and toe. I had to find myself as a child to grow into an adult that I am now, to really focus my faith in God and also focus on loving me as much as God loves me. So in my journey, I had to grow immensely to figure out how do I reflect on having multiple sclerosis, and I used to be so mad at God for giving me MS, and why would God give me MS? But then I learned in time that God doesn't give their kids nothing that they can't handle. It
Right.
was something that was for me because he knew that I can handle that. Why would you give me something and burden my parents? You're not a burden, you're a lesson.
Mhm. Oof. Oh my God. Yeah, it's true. I did want to change gears a little bit and ask if you guys, what changes would you like to see within this particular community in terms of multiple sclerosis, and what changes have come about since your journey began? Let's start with you, Kevin.
What changes would I like to see? Wow. Wow. Now I got some control and I don't know what to do with it. Uh uh oh man.
He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for this power. Oh. Um I would like to see more awareness being out there. I would like to see more groups like this being put together because in my opinion this was a group like this was a lifesaver to me. Before I got a counselor, I actually saw Damon years ago in the Black MS forum. So I think if
Oh
I
yeah,
was
you
in
man with the
control,
glasses. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
your
yeah.
voice, the radio personality, voice, everything, I'll never forget it ever. But I think forums like this, I would like to see more of this. Places where people can come and speak and, break bread together, drink coffee, just talk and share information because, again, I love my doctor, but here is where the real meat is at, right here. This is where the real meat and potatoes are at. My doctor is great. I love her. But this is where the real meat and potatoes. So if I had to choose, if I was the one deciding, there would be more groups and it would be highlighted in every doctor's office. Here, there are forums going on all around this country for people to be aware so that they don't have to be relied on these doctors who's just going to try to push pills.
Mhm.
Pills. What about the
Mhm.
people? Let's get with the people and see how, what information I can gather from them, what facts, what feeling I can generate through this computer screen and be like, wow, I feel that energy coming from wherever they're at. And I feel it through here because this is intense to me. My doctor, this is intense for me right here. Just getting right here in this community. So to me, more community.
I don't think there is a better answer for that. I really,
Yeah,
Yeah,
legit.
no, exactly.
People are healing. Our people are healing.
Yeah,
I think yes.
it's about time.
yeah.
I'm gonna jump here, please.
It's,
It's
mhm.
something that I wish would be different or adjusted or such. It's sort of along what's in the comments. People are like, talk about diet, talk about the things that you should eat, and these sorts of things. And just like MS is different for everyone, one person can follow the walls thing and it'll be better. Another person can follow the OMS and they'll be better. And
Mhm.
everyone will swear by their own thing. The main thing is to do what works for you. And first up, eat food that was grown in the ground. No sugar, no gluten, no dairy. Step
Okay.
one. Step
It's
one.
hard.
And
It's hard.
it, take it from there. And so that's generally the world that I play in. I love a good cheeseburger and fries because that is delicious. They formulated that to be specifically what it is and what it is.
Mhm.
However, that's not all that I eat. And tonight was quinoa and carrots and mushrooms and and then I had an apple for dessert. Again, if it don't grow in my system, it don't
Talking my
go.
language.
If it don't grow in my system, it don't go. And that's something to remember. There is no one end all and be all. But if you
Mhm.
just stick to eating the things that grew out of the ground without any chemical processes or whatever, you will feel better.
Hmm.
And that's mainly the thing that we want to have happen. So that's what I would change and adjust, and also take care of a couple of questions in the comments as well.
Box. Right, right, right.
Yeah, there
We
are
got the thumbs going up there. There we go. I'm with it. Thank you.
there are questions in the Q&A, Diana, about your book, where people can find it. Also, how has MS, if at all, affected your ability to give birth?
Oh my gosh. Oof, that's a double that's a double story. My book could be found on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. Just type my name, Diana Leah, it'll pop up. My tiny spotted mind. Um, yeah, so that was a chapter, giving birth and having multiple sclerosis. Nothing. I didn't change my diet. I didn't change my. I had to stop working out at 36 months, obviously. Well, not obviously, but for the most part. 36 weeks, 36 months. 36 weeks. I said, he's like, what? Uh, that's a long time. But 36 weeks, I had to stop working out or calm it down. Um, but my diet literally stayed the same the whole time. I really didn't change anything. I went holistically with my midwives. I had midwives, I had doctors that followed me as well. Um, but I just was in tune with my body. When you're pregnant with MS, and this is something else I'm going to end up writing. When you're pregnant and you have a chronic illness, you have to really take in effect that you're not only worried, not worried, I don't want to say worried at all. You don't only have to deal with yourself, you're dealing with a whole other entity in your body. So again, what you put in your mind and in your body is a big deal for the fact that you're nurturing another soul. So you need to be very strategic with yourself and strategic what you let into your mind, body, and your soul. And that goes full circle to spirituality, which Kimani was talking about, that what you put into it is what you're perpetuating into the world. So in focus of my pregnancy, I just did the same old thing. And my same old thing is just eating well. I love coconut. I love coconut water. I try to stay as hydrated as possible. I went for daily walks. You know, I spoke to my family. I am on the West Coast. I'm an East Coast girl. I'm New York. It's to the core of me. So I just kept in line with my family and kept all the goodness around me and filled my cup. And once my cup was full, I filled her cup, and when her cup is full, you know, hopefully we continue to fill cups. That's how I roll. It's I make it sound simple, and it is really that. It's not
Hmm.
that complex. It really isn't. And I wish people understood that this life is so sensitive, but it's so not complex once you just ease into everything around you and just keep good people around you, like this panel. Good people, great individuals. You know, it's not only we're not all like-minded. We're all sharing each and every story so we can learn from one another. And that's what we're here. We're good individuals and we just want to live
Right,
and live well.
it's true. In the Q&A, there is a mix of comments and questions. I'm trying to filter through them. But someone asks, can anybody explain in detail about what you have done thus far to better yourself on your journey?
I'll take
I'm
uh,
sorry.
I'll take
Okay.
the thing that I feel like I have done is just try to educate myself as much as I can about it
Mm-hmm.
now because it's still learning about exactly because it's different with everybody. And so it's just and trying to stay positive, but sometimes that's easy, sometimes it's hard. And just know that your journey is as far as the eating part of it. I'm from Louisiana, and so that's kind of it's kind of hard to stay on a diet. So
That
basically,
gumbo.
yeah, yes, indeed, and everything else, crawfish, the whole 9 yards. But I feel like it's in moderation. Everything is in moderation.
Mm.
And
Very
so,
true.
yeah, and so basically what I try to do is like I'll cut it in half. Like even though I want to eat a huge bowl of crawfish etouffee, I said, okay, I'm gonna cut it in half and then I'll have not even half of it, half of the half for lunch. And then I'll have the rest of it for supper. And then the taste is gone. It's gone for like a couple of days or a couple of weeks. And then I move on to something else. But my battle is I know we're not supposed to have white stuff. The rice is not good for it. So salt and the sugar is not good for it. So I'm always at a battle with it. And so I have to go back into my moderation. And my tea might not be as sweet as I want it to, but I still get that little flavor. And then I can move on. But it's just I am just so touched by being part of this camp because you don't realize you think, okay, I have him inside. I know this and I know that. But then at the end of the day, when you start listening to other people, you know nothing because you have no idea what the next person is going. All you can do is just be there and listen to them because like Kevin said, this is awesome. This is awesome to be a part of.
Mhm.
And if we could get it in all facets, and one thing I do want to share is the fact that when I shared with my group that it was gonna be a spotlight on the Black experience within men, one of my members' mom, she felt like that was rape. I said, and I had to remind her that one of the members, um, she was having all the symptoms, and one of the doctors told her, I think you have MS. And she said the doctor told her she was stunned because it was thought to be a white woman's food. And
Yeah.
that he had never encountered very many or any black women or black people with him. But
Mm-hmm.
he encouraged her to go and be tested for it. And so it did. It came back. She had him in. But that's what I had to inform my member to let her know you do remember this conversation that was had. And so now I don't want to be on that side of the stick as far as we're not saying, okay, it's just black people that have this. It affects everybody differently and including black and white and otherwise, all nationalities. But, it's like a lot of things we're not heard and we have to have a voice. And if we don't speak loud and put ourselves out there, then
No,
we
it
won't.
debate us.
Yeah, because I mean, they is just like pushed to the side. Oh, okay, they'll be all right. No,
Mm-hmm.
we need the information just like everybody else. And they,
Yeah.
I really, ugh, I am devastated because I can literally sit here and keep going, you guys, but I'm being yelled at a little bit from the
oh,
other side, so we kind of have to wrap it up a little.
oh,
However, the questions that were not answered in the Q&A have been written down, and we would love for you guys to come back and do a part 2 of the things that
oh,
That would be awesome.
Aw, that would be
because
so amazing if you
like
get on
That
on
would be
time.
awesome.
yeah.
yeah, like because between the talking points that we had for you guys before and then added to the questions from the attendees, it's definitely going to take more than an hour to actually get through it. And I want to give everybody that space to be heard,
Right.
just like what you guys advocate for in your individual journeys, a place to be heard. So I thank you guys so much for joining us. If you missed any part of this conference, for the people who are watching, you can go to our Facebook page, Multiple Sclerosis Foundation, to watch the live stream. After we close out here on Zoom, our next conference will actually be kicking off NSEAM, National MS Education and Awareness Month, with Sherry Benz, who's a registered nurse. And it will be on March 6th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can go to msfocus.org and look in the events tab to actually register for that. And again, Damian, Diana, Marianna, Kevin, we appreciate you guys so much for taking
Yes.
the time. Congratulations on the baby, Diana.
Thank
And
you so much.
Congratulations.
yes, I will let you know as soon as I get your book. But I'm gonna email you guys about when in the future we can actually schedule a part 2, and hopefully we'll have you guys back sooner than later.
Right. And go straight
Yes,
to
I
the
would love
questions.
to.
Yes,
Mhm.
indeed.
Thank you guys all. Have a great day.
Thank you
Thank
And
so
you.
much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
guys. Thank you for
Bye, everyone.
sharing.
bye bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye,
Take
Bye,
family.
care.
everyone. Bye.
All right.